A man bought his childhood home in 2023, 32 years after his family sold it. The house where he grew up, where he learned to ride a bike, where his mother made pancakes every Sunday morning, where his father taught him to throw a baseball. In the backyard, the house they left when he was 15. The house he never thought he'd see again. His name is Daniel. 47 years old, successful architect, married, 2 kids, living a good life 3 states away, until he got an email from a realtor. Subject line, 418 Maple Street, for sale. His childhood address. The universe offering him a second chance. A chance to go back, to reclaim something that was lost, or maybe to finally understand why it was lost in the first place. He bought it without even visiting. Sight unseen. His wife thought he was crazy. His kids didn't understand, but Daniel knew he had to. There was something unfinished about that house, something unresolved, something that had haunted him for 32 years. It was on a Saturday morning in September 2023 that Daniel opened the attic door for the first time. The house was empty. The previous owners had moved out, left the place clean but hollow. Daniel walked through each room slowly, remembering. The kitchen where his mother died, the living room where Christmas happened, the bedroom where he used to hide under the covers, reading comic books with a flashlight. Everything was smaller than he remembered. That's what people always say. Childhood places shrink when you return as an adult, but the memories don't. The memories stay the same size. Sometimes they get bigger. The attic stairs were in the hallway. Same pull-down ladder, same creak when you unfolded it. Daniel climbed up. The smell hit him immediately. Dust, old wood, cardboard, time. And underneath all of that, something else, something familiar, something that made his chest tight. The attic was full. Boxes, furniture covered in sheets, old paint cans, Christmas decorations, and in the back corner, underneath a blue tarp, something that didn't belong to the previous owners. Daniel pulled back the tarp, and his entire childhood stared back at him. Boxes, dozens of boxes, labeled in his mother's handwriting. Daniel, age 7. Daniel, school projects. Daniel, photos. Daniel, do not open. His family left them. When they moved. When his mother got sick, when everything fell apart, they left these boxes in the attic. And for 32 years, they sat here, waiting, preserved, like a time capsule that was never meant to be found. What Daniel discovered in those boxes over the next 3 days changed everything he thought he knew about his childhood, about his parents, about why they really left this house, about the secrets families keep, about the lies we tell children to protect them, about the truth that eventually, inevitably comes out. This isn't a story about nostalgia. This isn't about finding old toys and getting emotional. This is about a man who went looking for his past and found something much darker, something his parents buried, something that explains everything and nothing, all at once. Brace yourself, because sometimes going home means discovering you never really knew home at all. The boxes. Daniel sat in the attic for 20 minutes before he touched anything, just staring at the boxes. His mother's handwriting was unmistakable. That careful, neat script. She labeled everything, organized everything. That was who she was. Meticulous, controlled, until she wasn't. She died when Daniel was 17. Cancer, fast and brutal. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. His father fell apart after, started drinking, lost his job. Daniel raised himself for the last year of high school, then left for college and never really came back. His father sold the house a year later, moved to Arizona. They talked maybe twice a year until his father died in 2019, heart attack at 71. Daniel thought that was the end of the story. Parents gone, childhood over, move forward. But here were these boxes, physical evidence that something remained, something was left behind. He started with the box labeled Daniel, age 7, pulled it toward him, opened the flaps. The smell of old paper and crayons hit him immediately. Inside were drawings, school projects, report cards, a math test with a gold star, a story he wrote about a superhero dog. His handwriting tiny and careful, trying so hard to stay between the lines. He found a Mother's Day card he made. Construction paper, glued cotton balls shaped like flowers. To the best mom in the world. His 7-year-old self believed that, completely unconditionally. Next box, Daniel, age 10, baseball cards. A signed basketball from a game his dad took him to, certificates from swimming lessons, a journal from summer camp. He opened it, read his own words from 37 years ago, July 15th, 1986. Today we went canoeing. I flipped the boat and Jake laughed at me. I hate Jake. But then he helped me get back in. Maybe Jake is okay. Camp is fun, but I miss home. I miss Mom's spaghetti. I miss my room. Only 2 more weeks. Daniel smiled. He'd forgotten about that summer, about Jake, about how homesick he was, about how much he loved his mother's spaghetti. He kept digging. Found more boxes. Age 11, age 12, age 13, photos, report cards, birthday, cards, old school ID badges, a retainer he apparently never turned back in to the orthodontist, ticket stubs from movies his dad took him to, a program from a school play where he played a tree, evidence of a normal childhood, a happy childhood. But then he found the box that changed everything, the one labeled in his mother's handwriting, Daniel, do not open. It was shoved in the corner, behind the other boxes, hidden, deliberate. His mother wanted these other boxes. Found. She labeled them clearly, organized them chronologically, but this one was different. This one had a warning, a command, a secret. Daniel stared at it, his heart beating faster. Every instinct told him to respect her wishes, to leave it closed, to let some mysteries stay mysteries, but he'd bought this house for answers, for closure, for truth, and truth doesn't come from respecting boundaries that no longer matter. His mother was dead. His father was dead. There was no one left to protect, no one left to keep secrets for. He opened the box. Inside were documents, files, folders, letters, newspaper clippings, police reports, hospital records, legal papers. Nothing a child would need, nothing that belonged in a childhood memory box. Daniel pulled out the first folder, opened it, and the world he thought he knew started to crumble. Medical records from 1988. Daniel would have been 12, his mother's name on the documents. Psychiatric evaluation, diagnosis, major depressive disorder with psychotic features. Hospitalized for 3 weeks, recommended ongoing treatment and medication. Daniel's hands shook. His mother was hospitalized for 3 weeks. He had no memory of this, none. Where was he during those 3 weeks? Who took care of him? He found another document, a letter from his father to a doctor, dated August 1988. Dr. Morrison, thank you for your continued care of my wife. I'm writing to inform you that we've decided to discontinue her medication. She believes it's affecting her ability to function normally. She wants to try alternative approaches. I know you advised against this, but it's her decision. We appreciate everything you've done. His father took his mother off her medication, against medical advice. Why would he do that? Daniel kept reading, found more letters, more records. A pattern emerged. His mother would have episodes, get hospitalized, start medication, feel better, convince his father she didn't need it anymore, go off medication, get worse, repeat. There were police reports, 3 of them, 1989, 1990, 1991. Wellness checks. Neighbors called because his mother was in the yard at 3 a.m., screaming, digging holes, looking for something. The report said she was disoriented but not dangerous, that his father assured police she was under medical care, that no further action was taken. Daniel had no memory of any of this. How is that possible? How does a child not remember his mother screaming in the yard at 3 a.m.? Unless someone made sure he didn't remember, unless someone kept him inside, told him it was a bad dream, normalized the abnormal until it became invisible. He found newspaper clippings, local paper, small articles. Local woman reported missing. Found safe. 3 different articles, 3 different times, 1989, 1990, 1991. His mother wandered off, was missing for hours or days, was eventually found and brought home, and Daniel never knew. Or did he? Were these the work trips his father said his mother was on? The times she visited her sister? Daniel's childhood was rewriting itself. In real time, every memory now suspect, every explanation now questioned. What was real? What was cover story? What was lie? He found something else. A journal. His mother's journal, beautiful leather cover, pages filled with her handwriting. But this handwriting was different, messy, frantic, urgent. The first entry was dated January 3rd, 1988. They're watching me. I know they are. The neighbors, the people in the grocery store, they know what I did. They know the truth. I can see it in their eyes. Judgment, disgust, fear. I can't leave the house anymore. Can't face them. Can't pretend everything is normal when everyone knows. What did she do? What truth? Daniel flipped through more entries. They got worse, more paranoid, more fragmented. The walls are listening, the phones are tapped. They're recording everything, building a case, waiting for me to slip up, waiting to take Daniel away. I have to be careful, so careful, can't let them see, can't let them know. His mother thought people were watching her, thought they were trying to take Daniel away, thought the walls were listening. Classic psychotic symptoms. But reading it now, in her own words, made it real in a way medical records couldn't. Another entry, March 1988. I told Robert about the cameras in the vents. He said, I'm imagining things. He wants me to see the doctor again, but the doctor is part of it. The doctor tells them everything. I can't trust anyone, not even Robert. Sometimes I think he's working with them. Sometimes I think he wants me gone. She didn't trust his father, thought he was conspiring against her. How do you live like that? How do you raise a child while believing your husband is your enemy? Daniel kept reading, page after page, his mother's deteriorating mental state documented in real time. And then, an entry that made him stop breathing. June 12th, 1991. I almost did it today. I stood at the top of the stairs with Daniel sleeping in his room, and I thought, what if I ended it? What if I took him with me? Saved him from what's coming, from what they're planning. We could go together, peaceful, painless, just slip away. Daniel dropped the journal. His mother considered killing him, and herself, murder-suicide. He was 12 years old, asleep in his room, unaware that his mother was contemplating ending both their lives. He felt sick, stood up too fast, hit his head on a low beam, didn't care, stumbled to the attic window, opened it, breathed, tried to process, tried to understand. His mother was severely mentally ill, untreated, dangerous, and his father knew and did nothing, took her off medication, ignored warning signs, left Daniel alone with her. How many times was Daniel in danger and didn't know it? How many times did he narrowly escape something terrible? How many times did luck or timing or some random intervention save him from his own mother? He went back to the box, found more documents, a restraining order filed by his mother against a neighbor, Mrs. Henderson from next door. The order was denied. The judge's note said, petitioner shows signs of paranoid delusions. Respondent poses no credible threat. Daniel remembered Mrs. Henderson. Sweet old lady, brought cookies, babysat him a few times. His mother thought she was a threat, thought she was dangerous. He found his father's handwritten notes, pages of them, dated entries like a log, May 3rd, 1991. Margaret refused to take medication again, says it makes her feel fuzzy. I don't know what to do. If I force her, she threatens to leave. If I don't, she gets worse. Daniel is starting to notice. Asked why Mom talks to herself. I told him she's praying. He accepted it. His father was documenting everything, keeping records. Why? Insurance, legal protection, evidence for future custody battle? More notes. July 19th, 1991. Margaret was gone all day. Came home with dirt under her fingernails, won't tell me where. She was. Daniel is at camp, thank God. Can't let him see her like this. October 2nd, 1991. Found Margaret in the basement at 2 a.m. She'd torn apart the walls. Looking for listening devices. The house is destroyed. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix her. And then the final note. November 15th, 1991. We're leaving. I found a house 3 states away. Fresh start. New doctors. New neighbors who don't know our history. Margaret agreed. She thinks they won't find us there, won't follow us. I'm letting her believe that. Whatever it takes to get out of this house. This house has too much history, too much pain. We need to leave it all behind, including these boxes, including evidence of who we were. Daniel will never know. I'll make sure of that. That's why they left, not for his father's job, not for a fresh start in the normal sense. They were running from his mother's mental illness, from the neighbors who knew, from the history documented in police reports and hospital records, and they left the evidence behind, sealed in an attic, hidden, forgotten, until now. The photos. Daniel spent the night in the empty house, couldn't bring himself to leave, ordered pizza, sat on the floor of what used to be his bedroom, surrounded by boxes, trying to reconcile 2 versions of his childhood. Version 1, happy kid, loving parents, normal suburban life, the version he'd been living with for 32 years. Version 2, mentally ill mother, overwhelmed father, child at risk, the version he just discovered. Which one was true, or were both true? Can 2 contradictory realities exist simultaneously? He went back to the attic the next morning, found another box, this one labeled Photos, 1985-1991. His mother's handwriting again, but this time no warning, just documentation. Inside were photo albums, the kind from the 80s and early 90s, sticky pages, plastic covers, photos slid into slots or stuck with those little corner holders. Daniel opened the first album, his childhood in images, birthday parties, holidays, school events, his father pushing him on a swing, his mother helping him blow out birthday candles, family vacation to the Grand Canyon, playing in a sprinkler in the backyard, normal, happy, unremarkable. But Daniel looked closer now, looked at his mother's face in the photos. In the early ones, 1985, 1986, she was smiling, genuine smiles. Eyes bright, present. By 1988, the smile was different, forced, eyes distant. In some photos, she wasn't looking at the camera, was looking past it, at something only she could see. In a photo from his 9th birthday, 1988, Daniel stood in front of a cake. His father behind him, his mother to the side. Daniel remembered this birthday, remembered it being great. But looking at the photo now, he saw something he missed as a child. His mother's hands, gripping the edge of the table, knuckles white. Holding on, literally holding on, more photos. 1989, fewer pictures of his mother, more of just Daniel and his father, baseball games, fishing trips. Father-son activities. Where was his mother in these? Why wasn't she in the photos? Because his father was protecting the image, taking Daniel out, creating memories away from home, away from his mother's illness, making sure Daniel had a normal childhood, even if it meant excluding his mother from it. Daniel found candid photos, not posed, just snapshots. In one, his mother stood in the kitchen, back to the camera, staring out the window. The photo had a note on the back in his father's handwriting. She stood there for 3 hours, wouldn't move, wouldn't speak. I didn't know what to do. Another photo. His mother in the backyard, digging. The same thing mentioned in the police reports. The note on back. Looking for cameras she thinks are buried. I filled the holes after. The yard is destroyed. These weren't photos for albums. These were documentation, evidence. His father was creating a record of his mother's illness, of the reality behind the happy facade. Daniel found a photo that broke him. Christmas 1990, the family in front of the tree. Daniel, 12 years old, holding up a new bike. Huge smile, his father next to him, arm around his shoulder, also smiling, and his mother on the other side, holding a small piece of paper. She wasn't looking at the camera, was looking down at the paper. Daniel took the photo out of the album, flipped it over. His father's note, Margaret wrote, "They poisoned the turkey," on a piece of paper during dinner, showed it to Daniel. I told him it was a joke. He believed me. I don't know how much longer I can do this. His mother thought someone poisoned Christmas dinner, told 12-year-old Daniel, and his father convinced him it was a joke, and Daniel believed him, because children believe their parents, because children accept the reality they're given, because the alternative, that his mother was losing her mind, was too terrible to accept. He found more photos. But now he was looking at them differently, seeing the truth behind the smiles, the fear in his father's eyes, the confusion in his own young face, the absence of his mother in more and more pictures as time went on. The final album ended in November 1991, the month they left. The last photo was of their house, 418 Maple Street, taken from the sidewalk. No people in it, just the house. And a handwritten note on the back in his mother's handwriting, "Goodbye, prison. Goodbye, watchers. Goodbye, lies. We're free." She thought the house was a prison, thought leaving would free her, but the illness went with them. You can't run from your own mind. Daniel went to another box, labeled Daniel, letters. Inside were letters he'd written home from summer camp, from school trips, from the one semester he stayed with his aunt while his parents renovated the house, which he now realized was code for his mother having another breakdown. The letters were cheerful, optimistic. "Hi, Mom and Dad. Camp is great. I caught a fish. Yesterday, can't wait to show you." No indication that anything was wrong at home, because as far as young Daniel knew, nothing was wrong. His parents protected him from the truth so completely that he had no idea his mother was falling apart. Or did he? Did some part of him know? Were there signs he ignored, moments he dismissed? Daniel found a letter he wrote at age 13. 1. He didn't remember writing, "Dad, is Mum okay? She's been acting weird lately. She keeps checking the windows, and she talks to herself a lot, and yesterday she told me not to eat anything Mrs. Henderson gives us because it might be poisoned. Is Mom sick? Can you tell me the truth?" His father's response was paperclip to the letter. "Son, your mother is going through a tough time. She's seeing a doctor and getting help. Sometimes adults have problems that are hard to explain, but she loves you very much, and so do I. Everything is going to be okay, I promise, Dad." But everything wasn't okay, and his father knew it. That promise was a lie, one of many, told to protect Daniel, to shield him, to let him stay innocent a little longer. The audio tapes. In the bottom of the Do Not Open box, Daniel found something unexpected, a shoebox. Inside were cassette tapes, the old kind, each one labeled with dates, 1989, 1990, 1991, and one word, evidence. His father recorded something, saved it, brought it to this house when they moved, and left it in the attic with everything else. Daniel went to his car, got the old cassette player he kept for nostalgia, drove back, sat in the attic, put the first tape in, pressed play, his father's voice, younger, tired, speaking quietly. June 3rd, 1989, it's 11 p.m. Margaret is asleep. I'm recording this because I need someone to know, need some record of what's happening, in case something happens. in case I'm not believed. Margaret had another episode today. Thought the mailman was surveilling us. Called the police. They came. I explained. They left. But Daniel saw. He saw his mother accusing an innocent man, saw the police, saw me trying to calm her down. He asked if Mommy was crazy. I said no. Said she was just stressed. But he's 12. He's not stupid. How much longer can I protect him from this? The tape continued, his father documenting his mother's illness, the episodes, the delusions, the paranoia, days and weeks and months of mental deterioration, all recorded. Daniel fast-forwarded through hours of material, stopped at random points. October 15th, 1989. Margaret hasn't left her room in 3 days, won't eat. Says the food is contaminated. I had to call her doctor. He wants to hospitalize her again. But if I do that, what happens to Daniel? He can't know, can't see. I told him his mother has the flu. Sent him to stay with my brother for a week. March the 2nd, 1990. Found Margaret's journal, read it. I shouldn't have, but I needed to know what she's thinking. She wrote about taking Daniel and running away, starting over somewhere where they can't find them. Who are they? There is no they. It's all in her head, but she believes it completely. I'm scared. I'm scared of what she might do. July 28th, 1990. Daniel asked me today if we're getting divorced. He said Mom doesn't seem to like us anymore. Doesn't talk to him. Doesn't hug him. He thinks she's mad at him. I didn't know what to say. How do you explain to a kid that his mother loves him but her brain is sick, that it's not him, that it's chemicals and neurons and something broken that we can't fix? Daniel listened to tape after tape, hours of his father's voice, documenting and chronicling, creating a record of what really happened during those years, the years Daniel remembered as mostly normal. Then he found a tape dated November 10th, 1991, 5 days before they left. His father's voice was different on this one, more urgent, more afraid. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending, can't keep protecting everyone while falling apart myself. Margaret's doctor called today, said if I don't get her back on medication, he's legally obligated to report us to Child Protective Services, said Daniel is at risk, that Margaret's condition has deteriorated to the point where she can't safely parent. And he's right. God help me, he's right. Last night, I found Margaret in Daniel's room, 2 a.m., standing over his bed, just staring at him. When I asked what she was doing, she said, making sure he's real, making sure they didn't replace him. This morning, I put the house up for sale. I found a job 3 states away. I told Margaret, we're moving somewhere safe, somewhere they can't follow. She agreed, packed immediately. I'm using her delusions to get us out, to start over. Is that wrong? I don't know, but I know I have to protect Daniel, even if it means lying, even if it means leaving everything behind. The tape ended. Daniel sat in silence. His father wasn't the villain in this story. He was a man trying to hold together a family that was disintegrating, trying to protect a child from a truth too awful to understand, trying to love a woman whose mind was betraying her. But there was one more tape. No date on it, just one word. Final. Daniel put it in, pressed play, his mother's voice. He hadn't heard it in decades, forgotten how it sounded, soft, a little hoarse, defeated. Daniel, if you're hearing this, I'm gone, and you're old enough to understand, or maybe you're not. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore. That's the problem. I don't know what's real, what's true, what's in my head and what's in the world. The doctors say I'm sick, that my brain is broken, that the things I see and hear and believe aren't real. And maybe they're right, probably they're right. But when you're inside it, when you're living it, it feels real. The threats feel real, the danger feels real, and you can't turn it off, can't make it stop, can't just decide to be normal. I tried, baby. I tried so hard. I tried to be a good mother, to hold it together, to not let you see, but I failed. I know I failed. I know you saw things, heard things, knew something was wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You deserved better. You deserved a mother who wasn't broken, who could take you to the park without thinking everyone was watching, who could make you dinner without worrying the food was poisoned, who could tuck you in at night without wondering if you'd be safer somewhere else. I love you, Daniel. I hope you know that. Everything I did, every crazy thing, every paranoid moment came from a place of love. Twisted, distorted love, but love. I wanted to protect you, even when the threats weren't real. My need to protect you was. Remember that. When you think of me, when you wonder what happened to your mother, remember that I loved you, even when I couldn't show it right, even when my brain was lying to me. The love was real. That part was always real. The tape ended. Daniel sat in the attic, tears streaming down his face. 32 years. It took 32 years to hear his mother explain, to understand, to know the truth. She knew. On some level, she knew she was sick, knew she was hurting him, knew she was failing. And that knowledge, that awareness, made it so much worse. The house reveals its secrets. Daniel spent 3 days in that house, barely ate, barely slept, just kept digging through boxes, kept reading, kept discovering, each artifact revealing another layer of truth. He found medical bills, tens of thousands of dollars, for psychiatrists, hospitals, medications. His family wasn't wealthy. His father worked in insurance. His mother was a teacher before she got sick. Medical bills like these would have bankrupted them. That's probably why his father took her off medication, not because he didn't believe in it, but because they couldn't afford it. Mental health care in the 1980s and 90s wasn't covered well by insurance. Families had to choose medication or mortgage, hospitalization or college fund. His father chose to keep them afloat financially, and his mother paid the price. And so did Daniel, by extension. He found letters from his mother's family, his grandparents, his aunt, all expressing concern, all offering help, and his father's responses, politely declining, saying they had it under control, saying Margaret was doing better, saying they didn't want to burden anyone. Pride, shame, stigma. His father was too proud to admit he couldn't handle it. Too ashamed to let people see how bad it really was, too afraid of judgment to accept help, so they suffered alone, isolated, drowning. Daniel found something else. A letter his mother wrote to him but never sent, dated December 1990. He would have been 14. Dear Daniel, you'll be a man soon, 15 in a few months, almost old enough to understand, almost old enough to know the truth. But I can't tell you, can't burden you with this, can't make you carry my sickness. So I'll write it here and hide it away. And maybe someday you'll find it. And maybe you'll forgive me. The truth is, I'm afraid of you, not because you're dangerous, but because I love you so much that the thought of losing you makes me crazy. Literally crazy. Every time you leave the house, I think you won't come back. Every time you're late from school, I think someone took you. Every time you're quiet, I think you hate me. And my brain turns those fears into facts, creates elaborate stories about conspiracies and threats and dangers that don't exist. And I can't stop it, can't control it, can't separate fear from reality. So I watch you constantly, check on you at night, follow you sometimes without you knowing. Your father says I'm smothering you, that I need to let you grow up. But I can't, because my sick brain tells me that if I look away for even a second, you'll disappear. And I believe it, every single time. I'm ruining your childhood. I know that. You should be free, should be normal, should have a mother who trusts the world. Enough to let you exist in it, but I can't be that mother. I'm sorry. Daniel folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope. His mother wasn't a villain. She was a victim of her own brain, of circumstance, of an era that didn't understand mental illness the way we do now. He walked through the house one more time, each room now holding double memories, the original childhood memory, and the new, darker truth behind it, the kitchen where his mother made pancakes. Also the kitchen where she sometimes wouldn't eat for days because she thought the food was poisoned, the living room where Christmas happened. Also the living room where his mother accused guests of being government agents, the backyard where he played. Also the backyard where his mother dug holes at 3 a.m. looking for surveillance equipment. Every happy memory now had a shadow, a darker version, the truth behind the facade. But here's what Daniel realized. Both versions were true. His childhood was happy. His mother did love him. They did have pancakes and Christmas and laughter. That wasn't fake. That wasn't a lie. But it was also hard, also scary, also damaged. Both things existed simultaneously. Joy and pain, love and illness, normal and broken, all at the same time. Daniel went back to the attic one final time, looked at all the boxes, hundreds of artifacts from a childhood he thought he understood, now recontextualized, now seen through adult eyes with adult knowledge. He noticed something he'd missed before, a small box tucked behind a beam, no label, just a plain cardboard box. He pulled it out, opened it. Inside was a video camera, one of those old camcorders. From the 90s, heavy, clunky, and a single tape inside. Daniel's hands shook. What was on this tape? What final secret was waiting to be discovered? He took the camcorder downstairs, plugged it into the TV using old cables, pressed play. The screen flickered, then showed his living room. This living room, December 1991. Just before they moved, his father behind the camera, his voice, "Say goodbye to the house, buddy." The camera panned. Young Daniel, 15 years old, standing in the empty living room, boxes everywhere, looking uncomfortable. "Bye, house," he said flatly. "Can we go now?" "In a minute," his father said. "Your mom wants to say something." The camera turned. His mother stood in the doorway, thin, tired, but lucid, present, more present than in any of the photos from that year. She looked directly at the camera, directly at whoever would watch this, directly at Daniel in the future. "Daniel," she said, "if you're watching this, you found everything, the boxes, the letters, the truth, and you're probably angry, or confused, or both, and you have every right to be, but I need you to know something. I need you to understand. I was sick, my brain was sick, but my love for you never was. Every moment I had with you, every good day, every smile, every hug, those were real. The illness took a lot from me, from us, but it never took my love for you. That was the one thing it couldn't touch, the one thing that stayed pure. So when you remember me, when you think about your childhood, remember both. Remember the good. Mother I tried to be, and remember the sick woman I couldn't help being. Both were me, both were real, and both loved you more than anything in this world." She walked toward the camera, reached out, her hand filled the screen. Then the video ended. Daniel sat on the floor, crying, finally crying. 3 days of discovery, 3 days of truth, 3 days of pain, all coming out at once. His mother knew. She knew he'd find this someday, knew he'd come back, knew the truth would come out, and she left him a message, an explanation, a final goodbye. 28 years after her death, his mother was still trying to protect him, still trying to explain, still trying to love him the only way she could. What he did with the truth. Daniel stayed in the house for 2 more weeks, had furniture delivered, moved in properly. His wife was concerned. His kids were confused, but he needed to be there, needed to live in the space between past and present, needed to reconcile who he was with who he came from. He called his aunt, his mother's sister, asked questions he should have asked years ago. "Did you know?" he asked. About Mom. Long silence. Then, yes, we all knew. We tried to help. But your father, he was proud, thought he could handle it. And your mother was terrified of being institutionalized. Back then, that's what happened. To people like her, they got locked away. So she refused treatment more often than not. And your father enabled it because he loved her. It was complicated, Daniel. They were both trying their best with impossible circumstances. Why didn't anyone tell me? We wanted to. But your father said no, said you were too young, that you'd been through enough, that you deserved a fresh start without the weight of your mother's illness defining you. He thought he was protecting you. He was lying to me. He was loving you, in the only way he knew how. Daniel talked to his own therapist about it, processing, understanding, working through 32 years of buried truth. Your father did what many parents do, the therapist said. He tried to give you a normal childhood despite abnormal circumstances. And he succeeded in a way. You grew up functional, successful. You didn't carry the trauma because you didn't know it existed. Whether that was right or wrong is debatable, but it came from love. Daniel decided to tell his own kids, 16 and 14, old enough to understand, old enough to know that mental illness is real, that it runs in families. That awareness is protection. He sat them down, showed them photos of his mother, explained what happened, gave them the truth their grandfather never gave him. "Why are you telling us this?" his daughter asked. "Because secrets don't protect people," Daniel said. "They just delay pain. And I want you to know your history, to understand where you come from, to watch for signs in yourselves. Mental illness isn't shameful, it's medical. And the more we talk about it, the less power it has." His son asked, "Are you mad at your dad for lying?" Daniel thought about it. "No, I understand why he did it. He was drowning, doing his best, making impossible choices with no good options. I wish he'd told me. But I forgive him for not." Daniel decided to keep the house, renovate it, make it his. His wife agreed to move. The kids were less thrilled but adapted. He kept all the boxes, put them in the basement, not hidden, not secret, just archived. Part of the house's history, part of his history. He created a memory wall, photos from the boxes, both versions of his childhood, happy Daniel with his parents, and the harder truth behind those smiles, both displayed, both honored, both true. He wrote a letter to his mother, knowing she'd never read it, not caring, needing to say it anyway. "Mom, I found everything. The boxes, the tapes, the truth, and you were right. I was angry at first, felt betrayed, felt lied to, but now I understand. You were doing your best with a broken brain, and Dad was doing his best with an impossible situation. And both of you loved me. That's what matters. Not the illness, not the lies, but the love. Underneath it all, I forgive you for everything, for the moments you weren't present, for the fear you lived with, for the childhood that wasn't quite normal. I forgive you, and I love you, both versions of you, the healthy mom who made pancakes, and the sick mom who couldn't always show up. Both were you, both were my mother, and both are part of who I am. Now thank you for leaving the truth for me to find. Thank you for the video. Thank you for explaining. It helped, more than you'll ever know. Rest easy, Mom. Your secrets are safe with me. And so is your memory. Love, Daniel." He buried the letter in the backyard, under a tree, a private ritual. A closing of the circle. Daniel lives in that house now, 418 Maple Street, his childhood home, no longer haunted by what he didn't know, now filled with what he does. His kids have friends over. The house has laughter again, life again, but also truth, also awareness, also honest conversations about mental health and family history, and the importance of seeing people as whole humans, not just their best or worst moments. Sometimes Daniel goes to the attic, sits with the boxes, reads his mother's journal, listens to his father's tapes, not to torture himself, but to remember, to stay connected to the full story, to honor the complexity of the people who raised him. He started a non-profit, supporting families, dealing with mental illness, providing resources, therapy, financial assistance, the things his family didn't have access to, the things that might have changed everything. He speaks at schools, shares his story, tells teenagers, your parents are people, flawed, complicated people. They're doing their best. Even when their best isn't enough, even when their best causes pain, love them anyway, and forgive them when you can, because someday you'll be the flawed parent doing your best, and you'll hope your kids understand. This is the story of a man who bought his childhood home and found more than nostalgia in the attic, found truth, found pain, found context for a lifetime of questions he didn't know he had. His mother was mentally ill, his father was overwhelmed, his childhood was both happy and tragic. All of it was true, all of it mattered, and all of it shaped him into someone who understands that people are more than their worst moments, that love exists even in dysfunction, that truth, however painful, is always better than ignorance. Daniel opened the attic in 2023 and found his childhood, all of it. The good, the bad, the real, the hidden, and instead of being destroyed by what he found, he was freed by it, because truth, even 32 years late, is still truth. And knowing where you came from, even when it's complicated, is better than living with beautiful lies. Some people never go home. Daniel did, and he found himself there. The child he was, the man he became, and the understanding that both exist because of two imperfect parents who loved him the only way they knew how. That's enough. It has to be enough, because it's all we ever get. Imperfect people, imperfect love, imperfect truth, and the choice to accept it all, or spend a lifetime wishing it was different. Daniel chose acceptance, chose understanding, chose love, and in doing so finally found peace with the childhood he never fully understood until now. The attic is empty now. The boxes are in the basement. The secrets are known, and the house on Maple Street is home again, not the home he remembered, but the home he needed to find.